If you're invited to a dinner party, you're not expected just to eat. Yeah, more is expected of you. You're expected to join in conversation and add to the atmosphere of everybody around the table. The same is true if you're invited to play in a role-playing game. You're not just expected to sit there and roll dice, but you should contribute to the enjoyment of everybody at the table. The GM is in the cook's role, as it were, and they're the ones who set the mood, the flavour for the table, for the session. But everybody has a responsibility to create an enjoyable experience. Now, if a GM a good GM can improvise a complete session, but even a brilliant GM, you might improvise a brilliant session, but it can benefit from a bit of preparation. The same goes for players, and I'm inspired by the games I'm in to prep for the game. I like to bring something prepped to add to the atmosphere, to create a moment which will hopefully draw the others in and strengthen the setting and make it just deeper and more enjoyable for everybody at the table. For example, in an ancient Rome campaign that I'm in, I do little researches into ancient Rome. I've come across drinking songs, marching chants, the kind of herbs and other things they use, and herbs and blessings they'd use in their cures for when I use medicine or I have a ability to cure light wounds. It's not a magical ability, but but he thinks it's semi-magical because he's a religious kind of Roman. And I also play a ranger, and he has the ability to cast Hunter's Mark, but to make it Roman, I describe it thus. Gaius Massilae fixes an opponent with his gaze, stamping and stepping on the spot, twitching his spear like a bull twitches its tail. Like the Salii, the leaping priests of Mars Gradivus, he chants the archaic Latin of the Carmen Saliare to summon the god of war into him. Now that required a little bit of research to find out the Carmen Saliare, and sometimes I recite little bits of it means nothing to me or anybody actually. It's Latin so ancient that even in the time of Caesar, they'd really forgotten what these words meant, but it's recorded out of tradition. It's like us speaking Chaucerian English today or Middle English. It's another language. By the time of the wars at the end of the Republic, the beginning of the Empire, and ancient and forgotten. Similarly, I'm in a Middle-earth campaign run by Jarl GM Lloyd, and he is brilliant at creating the atmosphere, but I feel it's also a duty of mine to bring some detail to each session to try and add to the atmosphere, the Middle-earth, the Tolkien-esque atmosphere that we create. Last time we've made reference to songs, but we've never actually had a song. So I brought a song based on Men of Harlech, and I've researched Elvish names. I've got a list of sort of treasures, historic people, and the treasures they owned, because my character is a treasure hunter. So I'm not just asking the GM for information. I can contribute details and make up sort of little details, and occasionally with a lucky roll and when Lloyd's in the mood, I've picked up a sort of a mirror or a comb in some ruins that I've been sort of digging through the dirt for. But it's not for that. It's not really for little petty treasures. It's to add, because they're all imaginary. They don't mean anything. All that the only thing that is important that has any actual real world effect is the stuff that affects your memories. And so I create things which will enrich our memories of the game. This is how I prep as a player. How do you prep as a player? Do you? And what do you do? I recommend it. My name's Caius. I love role-playing games, and I hope to see you in one.